town. Okay, Kevin, why don't you do your thing?
Okay. Welcome everyone. If this is your first joining us virtually, you will notice that you are currently muted, and everyone will remain muted throughout the meeting except for the committee co-chairs, Judy and Felice, and any presenters as we move through the agenda. Following the presentations, the co-chairs will call on members of the public wishing to speak. You can participate by going to the reactions icon on your device and pressing the raise hand button, not the wave or thumbs up, as those will disappear. Only press it once. If you press it a second time, your hand will go back down. If you are on the phone, it is *9 to raise hand and *6 to unmute. Be on the lookout for a prompt asking you to confirm unmuting once the co-chairs call on you. The chat is available for technical support only to help with Zoom software problems. Not to ask questions of the co-chairs, they will not see the chats. If you are using an older version of Zoom, you will need to go to the participant section where you will find the raise hand feature there. Please do not raise your actual hand or wave at the screen because we may not be able to see you. Chat me, I'm here for support. Thank you.
Hi, everybody. I'm Judy Schneider, co-chair of the Parks Committee, along with Felice Farber. And the first item that, and I see we have a former Community Board 8 member with us, Debbie Teitelbaum. How nice to have you join us tonight, Debbie. The first item, the agenda should read, it was a joint meeting between the 197A committee and the Parks Committee. And that's an update on the East Midtown Greenway and Andrew Haswell Green Park Phase 2. I see Evie is here. Is there anyone else here who is going to be presenting on that?
Hi, Judith. Yes, we're all here. My name is Tara Johnson. I'm joined by Ankita and Evie as well.
Okay. So take it away, ladies.
Excellent. Well, first of all, thank you so much to Community Board 8 for inviting us here tonight. We are excited to be giving you an update on East Midtown Greenway, which Ankita will walk you through.
Just to note, once you unmute, you cannot, once you mute yourself, you can't unmute again unless I send you the prompt.
Oh, understood. Okay. Can you all hear me now and also see my screen? Yes. Okay. So good evening, everyone. I'm Ankita Nalave from EDC Capital Division, and I am project director and manager on East Midtown Greenway, as well as Andrew Haswell Green Park. And I'm here to provide an update. So as you all may already know, Andrew Haswell Green is part of the 197A community plan by CB8, which was structured under the leadership of Judy and Barry, who are present in the meeting today. Phase 1 is to the north. Phase 1 of Andrew Haswell Green Park is north of 2B and includes a dog run. This is a completed project by Parks. Phase 2A that you can see on the screen, which is on the south of 2B, that is the Alice Aycock Pavilion, which is also a completed project by Park. Currently, we are working on Phase 2B, that is a multi-phased park. And Phase 3 is the transition area between East Midtown Greenway and Andrew Haswell Green 2B, which goes underneath the Alice Aycock Pavilion. This phase of the project is not yet funded. So this is rendering of Andrew Haswell Green Park. As you can see, this is rendering when you see south from 62nd Street. You can see Alice Aycock Pavilion in the back. You can see the surface treatment that we have planned for this project, the ramp that comes down, so you'll have a direct connection to the waterfront and seatings that are oriented more towards the waterfront and more green spaces. So this Andrew Haswell Green Park then connects to East Midtown Waterfront Esplanade, which was conceived in 2012 as one of the projects aimed to close 1.1 mile gap on the Greenway Loop around Manhattan. So East Midtown Waterfront is comprised of 3 sections: Waterside Pier, which was completed and open to completed in 2016 and is currently open to public. That is from 38th Street to 41st Street. Then we have UN Esplanade from 41st Street to 53rd Street, which is kicking off design later this year. And the project we are talking about, East Midtown Greenway, is 53rd from 62nd Street, which you can see in the continuous orange line on your screen. This is the rendering of the Esplanade. You can see how it connects through a pedestrian bridge from the existing Sutton Place Park and then connects to down to the Andrew Haswell Green Park. Now, zooming into the project area, as I mentioned before, the project starts with the existing Sutton Place Park on the south, that is to the left of your screen. That connects to the Esplanade through pedestrian bridge over the FDR. The Waterfront Esplanade has pedestrian pathway along with grade separated bicycle path. The Esplanade that continues from under the Alice Aycock Pavilion to the Andrew Haswell Green Phase 2B Park, where we are working on landscaping, railing, lighting work, pavement, seating improvements, and also rehabilitating the East 60th Street overpass. Since East Midtown Greenway project is relatively complete, we'll first go through construction images or some of the completed images of that phase, and then I'll move on to construction photos of Andrew Haswell Green Park. This is the pedestrian bridge connecting Sutton Place Park to Esplanade. In this image, you can see when we were installing fencing on the bridge, and we are also when we were installing traffic coating. And you can see some of the final finishes on your screen. Then what you can see here is the Esplanade. While it was in construction, you can see Silva cells on the left of your screen. Silva cells is something that allows root growth for the plants on the Esplanade. And this, the picture on your right is taken from the grade separated bike path. And you can see the planters and then the pedestrian path. So that's how the Esplanade is. And in this final image, you can see some of the finishes that you can see the planters, you can see the pavers on the side along with the artist paver that have been installed, also some seatings. Now we'll move on to the ongoing work. So the Esplanade is almost completed in part of its construction. The dotted line on your screen is the active construction. That is, as you can see on your screen, the transition area between the Esplanade and the Andrew Haswell Green and the Andrew Haswell Green Park. Both are in construction, transition as well as the AHG Park. What we are doing is we are demolishing the curtain walls in the transition area so that it has more light and the space, and you can use this transition space as both phases or both parts of the construction are done. In terms of ongoing work, you can see we are working. You can see in the map on the right hand side of your screen. This is just outside the transition area under the Alice Aycock Pavilion, where we are doing work on the bulkhead. And this is, you can see the Andrew Haswell Green lawn is shaping up. And you can see some of the features that you had seen in the rendering before come to life in this construction images. Then this is the construction images of the grand staircase and AHG platform. They're almost, you can imagine how great it would be to sit here and look to the waterfront. And then this is the ramp that leads to that ramp that leads to the 60th Street overpass. So you can see there is a direct connection. So you can either walk down from here, you don't have to walk throughout the ramp, but if you would like, you can do that as well. So that's the connection we are working on. This is just the other side, pitch image from the other side. As you may have known, since past 2 weeks, we have extended our construction fencing. This is the dog park in the background. We are working in this project. We are also going to work on repaving and doing some planter work towards this part of the part of the greenway or the walkway that is there. So that's what we are currently, that's why we have currently extended our construction fence here. And this is just zoomed in a picture. You can see there is a little bit access still made available so that people can pass through and can access the dog park. But sometime in future, we will have to shut down the entrance to the dog park for 48 hours so that we can do repaving in this area and then again transition back to the completed part. And then you can see we are putting the picket fence here, some of the railing work. And we are also working, there are closures on FDR from now until August, from Monday to Friday, from 1 a.m. to 5 a.m. only to the northbound side of the FDR at between 60th and 61st Street. We are doing trenching for conduit, and that's what the closures are for. The entire project, East Midtown Green, Andrew Haswell Green 2B, and the 60th Street ramp is scheduled to completion in December 2023. So that's it about the presentation. Please let me know if you have any questions.
Okay, let's start with the public. Kevin, can you help me with that? Because I can't really see who's here from the public and whether anyone has their hand up. So could you call on public members? I have a number of questions, but I'll wait.
Sure. If anyone from the public has a question, just raise your virtual hand.
You can find that under the reactions icon on your screen.
Okay, Jennifer Ratner.
Jennifer?
Yeah, hi, can you hear me?
Yep.
So amazing, even since the last time we had this presentation. I'm Jennifer Ratner from Friends of the East River Esplanade. Even in the few weeks since we've heard this, there's been a lot more that's happened, which is really fabulous and very, very exciting. So, and it looks really beautiful. So congratulations and really amazing. I was just going to ask, the question I have is, when you do that closure, the full closure for 48 hours, to make sure to notify us, our group, give us 48 hours notice or so, because we do get a lot of questions about that, and we'll be able to send out an e-blast. We have thousands of people who are Esplanade users on our e-blast, and that'd be really helpful if we could
Definitely
have that information ahead of time.
And to tag on to that, please notify Will at the board office, who can send out a notice. And I assume you're going to know before 48 hours. If you can please post notices at the dog run to let the people who use it know that it'll be closed.
Yeah, definitely. We'll do that. The closure will be for 48 hours, but we will be informing everyone way in advance.
Okay, great. So we'll try and get as much outreach on that as we can. Is there anyone else from the public? Thank you, Jennifer, for your comments. Judy Birdie.
Well, first of all, I've been watching this from the tram and from my elevator lobby for the last few years. The construction is amazing. I mean, the best thing to do is take a cable car ride and just see, and they're really working fast. I really want to compliment them. In a land that nothing happens fast. Judy, how many years have you been talking about 197A?
Oh, 03, 02?
Oh, I probably, but it really looks amazing. And from what I got to see, is there going to be like an amphitheater of steps going down to the water?
Yes,
I think you quickly went by an image.
this one,
I think it was farther back.
oh yeah, got it. No.
Yeah, because I could see the framing, but there, so that's going to be able to use as an amphitheater for performances and things, I presume.
No, no,
Or is it a staircase?
it's a staircase where people can walk down and they can sit there and they can eat their lunch and they can look out at the water. But I don't think we've never talked about it to be used as an amphitheater. But while we're talking about the staircase, Anika, am I pronouncing that properly? Is there going to be any kind of railing there for people to, because I didn't see it in the sketches earlier on, for people to be able to hold on? If younger people, it's okay, but older people may need a railing to hold on to.
I'll go to the rendering. Evie, do you know if there are railings? I would suppose yes, but I just want to make sure.
Everyone. Yes, there are railings both along the edge of the staircase where it borders the lawn. And also there are mid-stair railings so that you're never too far from being able to grab onto something to safely traverse up and down.
Good. And while we're there, before I go back to Judy, let me ask, at the very top of the staircase, will you have access to the roadway there, or is that, or not? I can't really tell right where you had the arrow. Can you walk down the staircase at that point?
Yes, you can.
Ah, okay.
So there'll be two ways you can access this, through the ramp as well as through the staircase.
Okay, thank you. Judy, do you have anything else?
Are they going to be bathrooms?
We
You
don't
know-
have bathrooms.
This is killing me. I've renamed us Roosevelt Island, land without toilets. I mean, here you have a thing going from 90-something street to 50-something street and no bathrooms. What is the city? Please.
If we raise enough money to do phase 3, we hope to have underneath bathrooms there.
Well,
So we hope that will be in phase 3, but
it's infuriating in the city how any project gets approved without bathrooms. I spend my day sending people to Cornell Tech for a bathroom, and really get it approved, because it's really upsetting in the city that we don't have bathrooms and beautiful public amenities. And it's something every other city in the world takes as a given. We still have to beg for them. But other than that, when you finish getting off, come take the tram and see how wonderful it's going to look. Okay, thank you, Judy.
thank you, Judy. Jennifer, did you have something else?
So just two really comments. One is to second or third what Judy just said about bathrooms. I'm actually on another meeting about the East Harlem waterfront, the contiguous part. And it's a real problem because we're going to have miles and miles of, I'm calling them places to pee because they keep changing the euphemism for this. So there are going to be miles and miles of greenway without places to pee, which is really an issue. So just calling attention to that to EDC and any elected officials who are on this call. And I was going to just make one other comment with respect to, not really a question, what Judy just said about, is that going to be an amphitheater? No, but we do use the Alice Aycock Pavilion, regularly, Esplanade Friends, as a sort of outdoor theater where we have hundreds of people. And I want to just invite everyone. We are now officially having a phenomenal all-woman salsa band that plays all over the city, including Summer Stage this week. And they will be playing at the Alice Aycock Pavilion on August 10th from 6 to 8 p.m. So you can bring your dinners out there and dance and really enjoy this phenomenal. They're a sensation like in New York, and they're called Lulata. So anyone who wants to know can visit our website or our Instagram.
Okay, do we have, Kevin, do we have any other members of the public with questions?
No.
Okay, well then I.
Oh,
I have
Judy,
a-
Judy Birdie.
Okay, Judy?
Again, what about vendors and people like that coming on the promenade? Are there going to be rules for this? We're being inundated by dirty vendors here. How do you prevent vendors and people from coming on the promenade? Is it part of it? Is there a permit program?
Yes, Parks Department has a permit program. And since this is a city park, they would have to get a permit from the Parks Department in order to be there. If we see any vendors there, it'll be reported to Parks and they will take it from there. Because they will be out of order. You do need a permit in a public park.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, I have a couple of questions. Some we answered. Number one, starting at Clara Coffee Park at 54th Street, going all the way up to us, are there any hours or is this open 24 hours a day?
I think that will be a question for Parks about the timing for the opening. I'm not sure. Is anyone from Parks on call?
I believe Kusa Lee is on from Parks. If we could get them unmuted.
I can answer this question.
Oh, thanks, Steve. Thank you, Steve.
The standard parks policy is that all of our parks close at 1 a.m. Unless otherwise posted. So I would expect that to be the policy here as well.
Okay. The pavers that, Anika, that you showed us on the part of the East Midtown Greenway that's already completed, the pattern is quite nice. Is that kind of pattern going to be carried on up into Andrew Haswell Green's paving?
Andrew Haswell Green will have the paving, but not the artist pavers. These artist pavers are just for the Esplanade, but the remaining will be in Andrew Haswell Green.
Okay, so it'll just be plain paving.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm sorry, can I just add some more information to that? So for the Andrew Haswell Green area, instead of, I think, the 3 colors that you see in EMG, it's 2 colors of gray. And so it's more of a solid, lighter color gray for the entirety of the area, but then there's a darker stripe kind of in the middle that helps identify the shared bike path. So
Okay,
it doesn't have.
It delineates between the walkers and the bikers?
That's correct. That's the intent of the 2 colors in a more structured pattern versus the random pattern that you see at EMG.
Okay, then there was a picture in the presentation with a wooden fence, out into the water, some work you're doing underneath. Can you go back to that?
Yeah. I suppose this one?
Yeah, yes. Now that's above, we have the pavilion. That's the area we're at, right?
Yes.
What, is there going to be the same metal fencing continued there once that work is completed? And there'll be pavers there, and there will be benches there or benches set in between the columns? Can we talk about that?
So this work, what they are currently doing is they are working on the bulkhead in this part, and that's why they have the wooden platform. It will be a finished surface. I want to confirm regarding the fencing and parks can. Evie.
Sorry, yes, it is a continuation of the sea rail that you see further south at EMG and further north as well.
Okay, so we're gonna have fencing there, seating there, seats with backs. I don't know which bench it is you're gonna use. But can you tell me, is it gonna be out near the rail? Is it gonna be recessed, the benches between the columns? What are you doing with the benches? Have you decided?
The information that we have is that there'll be around 10 benches, and we are still working on it. Parks, if you have any update on that.
I'm sorry, did you just pass that on to me?
I think Kusili can.
No, we
Can I unmute?
well, we have, I don't know, Kusli, I don't know how up to date you are on this. I believe we have set aside 11 benches,
Okay.
and but I don't know whether we've worked out the details with you yet on how and when they would be installed or where they would be installed. So I think maybe we still, Kusli, you could correct me on this, but I think maybe we still need to have a conversation to work out those details.
Okay, good. So the next time you come back to us, maybe you can give us an update on that. And then the last question I had was, you showed a picture, I think it was of the FDR itself and a closure between 60 and 61st Street. That's work that is being done on the FDR. It has nothing to do with you. Yeah, that one.
This is for the electric conduit that connects to the project. And the conduit that we were going to use for this project had already collapsed. So that's why we are installing new conduit, and that requires to go under the FDR.
I see. Okay. And speaking of electric, I guess this is my last question. That image of the park, is there going to be lighting? I don't think we've ever talked about that before. Near the staircase or in the grassy area. Do we have any lighting in the park? Especially if it doesn't close until 1 a.m.
I believe we do have lighting. I'm not sure about the locations. I'm trying to see if there are mentioned in the railings, but there are lightings.
Okay, maybe the next time you come back to us, you'll give us an update on where the lighting is. I think
Evie,
it's.
Sorry, Evie, did you want to mention anything?
Oh, yeah, I just want to clarify, we do have the standard DOT light poles going down the ramp, and then also kind of wrapping along the staircase, so it will be lit.
Okay, and what about the curved area down around yeah, right there? I mean, will there be any lighting in that area at all?
I see you, sorry. In the rendering, I see lights here, but like you mentioned, next time we'll get a plan with lighting.
Okay, that would be good, because it would be good to have some lighting down there at the curve, if you can. I think that's it, except for Jennifer has another question.
Yeah, just to echo your concerns about the lighting and also just security in general. We're having quite a number of problems at the kind of just where you're closing off. So around the dog run and the garden, we have a lot of trouble over the past few years with vandalism. And we've had a big problems getting in security cameras, which may or may not be there. So is there a plan to put in security cameras as part of this? And also extremely important for the builders is to make sure that you place this new waterfront on the 911 system. because much of the Esplanade in this area has not been on the 911 system, so much so that NYPD can often not find the Esplanade. And it's been an ongoing problem in different sections of the waterfront in this area. So for everyone to make sure that it's actually on 911, that they know what the East River Esplanade is, the new Midtown Greenway,
Yes.
is important.
Sorry.
And the security camera issue is really a big one.
Yeah, well, that too. Yeah. Oh,
So is that a yes from either Parks or EDC that you have been in touch with 911?
Yes, we do have a call box at the node of the Esplanade, which is an emergency call box that connects to the services. Currently, about the security cameras, I'm not sure, Evie.
So the security cameras, so within this construction project, we are installing the conduit so that security cameras can be installed in the future. But that is with Parks, I'm sorry, to move forward if they decide that is the plan. So I defer to Parks for any additional detail on that.
The security, Steve, you can correct me if I'm wrong. The security cameras are usually in conjunction with the police department that monitors those cameras, because if you have them, somebody has to monitor them.
well, yeah, I mean, it's, you're correct. I mean, it's not just a question of monitoring them. Our preference is to have cameras that are linked directly into the NYPD system, so
Right.
that they would be easier for the NYPD to access in the event of an incident, or if they need to get to retrieve any information from the cameras. So we have found, our experience is that the best type of cameras are the cameras that are installed by NYPD.
Okay. So then can I ask Evie if you could send me some kind of a drawing or a plan if you have it? I think you have my email address showing where the location for the cabling would be. Then maybe I could get in contact with our 19th precinct and also our council member, because somebody needs to allocate the funds for the camera, and then it has to be worked out with, there's a special division at police that does that. So I think if I have a map, that's the first place to start.
Yeah, I can definitely share that. I'm not sure if it makes more sense for Parks to pass that on, but we can work together on that. I will say that during design, we did coordinate with NYPD to understand what their requirements are for dark fiber and like a head house and a connection. So all of the conduit is sized for that potential future project.
Well, I wouldn't be doing anything without keeping Steve Simon in the loop.
Yeah, we should work on that together, Judy.
Right. Okay, if no one has any, Felice?
Yeah, I just wanted to ask one question. You mentioned the darker pavement earlier in one of the pictures for the bike lane. Will it be clearly marked, the area for bicycles? Because there's not a lot of room along the Esplanade for a shared path for both pedestrians and bikes.
If you're talking about the Esplanade, that is clearly marked with the, it's clearly marked for bicycles and pedestrian. But are you talking about the one near Andrew Haswell Green here?
I was the slide you just showed that had you mentioned the darker paver blocks.
Yes, that clearly has markings for pedestrian and for bike.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, I guess this will be the last, Jennifer.
Oh, I think it was from the last thing, but just to say that we can help you with also with the NYPD and the cameras, since it's been an ongoing issue a little bit further north, given all the security concerns. So I'm happy to partner with you on that and talking to the two council members' offices that border this area.
Okay. Thank everybody for your update and your information. We look forward from hearing from you again in another 3 months, 4 months before the December opening. Okay. And thank you very much for coming tonight.
Thank you.
Is our next speaker here, Chris Gallo? I didn't see him.
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, we'd like to introduce Chris Gallo from Legends, who is going to give us an update on the Central Park Boathouse.
Good evening, everybody. Thanks for having me. Yes, my name is Chris Gallo. I'm the Regional Director of Operations for Legends Hospitality. We are excited to continue the phase project at the little boathouse. Phase 1, of course, was a big rush to kind of get the boats up and running for the summer season early. We did that in June. So we replaced 100 boats. All the rowboats were replaced. So I think we have about 79 and the rest are coming shortly, but the boat operation has been up and running since June. And also in sort of our phase 1 approach was getting our cafe up and running and open. And making sure we try to get as many of the union staff members back to work as we can, and start providing some food service out of the boathouse. So that's currently where we are now. We have the outdoor cafe experience open and the boats, and we're heavily in phase 2, which is getting the event space up and running to host events, and of course, last and certainly not least, the restaurant. So it's sort of a moving timeline here. There's a lot of logistics going on. We're replacing all the kitchen equipment. There's a lot of work on roofs and a lot of work on the HVAC system, some ADA compliance issues that we need to address. So those are all the things we're tackling right now in phase 2. And we're pushing heavy to try and get the banquet event space open and the restaurant open, hopefully at the end of the summer. Right now, that's kind of the biggest update that I have. But like I said, we're really excited to get the restaurant open and get people enjoying the views and enjoying dinner alongside the lake.
Well, thank you very much. Is there, Barry, you have a question?
Yes, thank you very much for taking my question, Mrs. Schneider. I have the 2-word question: crab cakes.
I've got a lot of those. I got that question before.
That's one word.
I guess you put it in one word. Yes, we are still curating our restaurant menu. We certainly will have fish incorporated in the restaurant menu. I'm pretty sure we're going to have crab on the menu. But yeah, we've gotten a lot of requests from the crab cakes. We're looking at this sort of as a restaurant restoration project for us, for a hospitality project for us. So our focus really is to try and, though we might be a little bit different than previous operator, and we certainly have our whole culinary program based on the restaurant, we definitely want to try and incorporate some of the memorable experiences that everyone's had. And we've definitely heard that the crab cake was one of those things for everyone. So I can't confirm that we'll have a crab cake, but I know I've actually tasted one the other day. I know we are looking to try and get that item on the menu as well, though.
Great, I appreciate it, because Judy keeps saying, Barry is so crabby. Goodbye.
Thank you.
Okay, are there any other members of the public with their hands raised? Okay, well, thank you very much, Chris, and we got you in early and you can go off to your meeting now. And please,
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Up to date with anything else.
We'll be back on once we have a timeline.
Judy,
Okay.
one person has a question.
Oh, okay. Who was that?
Kwanzi.
Can I talk to him now?
Yes.
Okay. Who is that from Central Park? I go there every day to watching how progress coming. right? Are you relate? Before the Central Park members, they've been treated very hospitality for the free coffee. And so free coffee is not big deal, but it's a hospitality. But new management, they cut down all those things. And I'd like to know it's the same service you're gonna provide what has been done before. And the new service should be better than before. What do you say?
I mean, I don't know any program of free coffee. I think that's what you said.
Yeah. When you have a membership in the conservancy membership, they have a free coffee. And one coffee, I've been members. My husband and I was members all along. I mean, I don't need the free coffee, but it's I can when I invite the people, and it's that's how you treat. They pay more than coffee when you give the free coffee. But new management is different, and so I talked to Jimmy, who is in both renovating the restaurant, and so right now it's management is different. So just I wanted to aware. So we should have not less. I mean, should be better than before. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I mean, we're not new management. We're actually a completely new restaurant operator. But this is the first kind of I'm hearing about it. But I'll reach back with the parks and conservancy, and we'll look to see about benefits for conservancy members. That's no problem. I don't know if it's going to be exactly what has been there in the past, but we certainly want to provide some sort of discounting or something. We'll definitely get with the parks and the conservancy about the memberships and how we can verify who's a member and who's not, and put together some benefit programs.
Yeah. We have a card.
Yeah, that's what I assume. I'm a member of the zoo, so you get those membership cards, and we'll definitely put together a program. So keep checking in with us. We'll figure it out. We'll make sure we get it.
Over there.
Okay. Well,
Okay,
thank you for
thank
letting
you
me
very
know.
much, Chris, for coming tonight.
Thank you.
Rita, Felice, do you want to do the next?
Yes, I am happy to. The next is an update on the John Jay Park pool deck reconstruction. And we have Nicholas, and I'm not even going to try to pronounce your last name, so I hope you can help me out. And you're on mute.
Greffenstedt. Can you hear me?
Yep. Great.
All right.
Thank you.
All right, great. I'll share my screen. 1 second. All right. Can you see this presentation? Can everyone see it?
Yes.
Okay, great. Great. So good evening. My name is Nicholas Greffenstedt. I'm a senior landscape architect at Parks. We work part of the State of Good Repairs program. So a lot of reconstructions in kind of park pavements, basketball courts, MPPAs, and pool decks as well. So tonight I'm going to be talking to.
Back, I'm in the middle of a Zoom meeting.
So tonight we're going to present on John Jay Park's pool deck reconstruction. It's part of our State of Good Repairs program. It's mayorally funded for a budget of 1.4 million, and it's currently in design. The goals are basically to refurbish and reconstruct the deck to meet ADA standards, to improve the user experience, and basically, as we're doing with all of our parks programs, really just facilitate, active and passive recreation opportunities. And so we're rebuilding the deck. That includes also the drainage, replacing chairs, replacing, ADA chairlifts, et cetera. But I'll go through the scope. This is the site. So John Jay Pool. It's 2 pools, which is, sorry, I just gotta go back. We have a diving pool over here and a lap pool. the bathhouse down the south.
My real face, put my make fake face up, okay?
It's not itself in the flood zone. It's quite elevated relative to the FDR Drive. No storm flooding of particular concern in the park itself. I'll just kind of skip through. The pool itself is not landmarked, but it's next to landmark buildings. And then this is our existing conditions. So the main pool and then diving pool, which I believe is one of the few remaining outdoor public diving pools in New York. So I'll just kind of skip through the next couple pictures, just showing you the existing conditions. So as I mentioned, since it's reconstruction in kind, we're really kind of focusing on anything which has gone beyond its useful life and just fixing things one-to-one. So existing concrete, which has some kind of pigmentation. You can kind of see it's cracked. It's in poor repair. We have the strain condition around the tree pit, which we actually think, we would want to enlarge the tree pit a little bit to give the roots a little bit more room to breathe, and maybe remove these strange painted bricks. And then here in the picture on the right, you see one of the conditions is these wooden planters, which are just in disrepair and falling apart. Where the fence line is around the diving pool is currently, it's currently non-compliant to DOH standards because it's too close to the edge of the pool. So we would want to remove it and, set it back to be able to comply. And you can kind of see here on the right, this is what happens when drains are either collapsing or when they need to be cleared. So we're redoing all the drainage system and tying into an existing, underground tunnel. Showing you the general condition of disrepair for the lifeguard chairs. You can kind of see it held together with duct tape over here. We noticed rust and different kind of conditions within the fencing, within the pool ladders and the ADA chairlift too. And then we have these sort of segmental concrete benches around, closer to FDR, which are in pretty good state. So we'll be keeping most of them, the ones that are around the tree pit, and kind of patching them as necessary. But I'll mention in a bit, these ones which are kind of along the fence line, we'll be replacing with ADA compliant, World's Fair benches, which basically have armrests and backs to basically help our park users with limited mobility. These concrete drinking fountains are non-ADA compliant. We actually have a standard now, which has a high, low, and a bottle filler. So we'll also be replacing that. And then this picture here on the right is showing you basically along the fence line, a dirt patch. So something we would want to fix with some additional planting and shrubs to screen the fence. So basically the entirety of the pool deck that you kind of see here in this tan color is this concrete in disrepair, which we want to be replacing. As I mentioned, we'd also want to be removing the fence line around the diving pool. And yeah, these are existing conditions. So to show you a little bit of precedence of what we've been doing with these reconstructions, this one in Dry Dock on the left is in Lower Manhattan. So we've been kind of playing around with pigmentation in concrete. You can kind of see those colors in the top right. And we think, it's a fun way to, it's very suggestive of a beach ball if you want. So it's kind of a fun way to do something a little bit more whimsical, a little bit more playful, which I think is appropriate. And this is how it's actually looking when it's installed. And we really think it looks great, for these pools, which, inscribed itself in this program, the Cool Pools program, and generally people like it. So this is kind of like what we've been doing with limited means, just using concrete, but just playing around with color pigmentation. And this is the idea of that design applied to John Jay. So kind of running you through around this plan, we would have blue pigmented concrete, we'd have gold pigmented concrete for this beach ball pattern. replacing all of the amenities, ADA pool ladders, the ADA chair, the fence line around the diving pool, the diving boards, replacing the planters, the existing wooden planters with fiberglass ones because they're waterproof and a lot more durable. So you would still have, some kind of perennial planting and grasses in these little kind of green circles I've highlighted here. And then, as I've shown along the fence line, along the FDR drive, replacing, 5 of these benches with backed versions. So the 1964 World's Fair, which we have in the rest of John Jay Park, which has a back and arms as well. And as I mentioned before, also replacing all the drainage and making sure it's, everything is connecting back to the underground tunnel. So I'll just kind of stay on this for a second, just to let you soak it in. Here are the materials we're suggesting. So pretty self-explanatory. The drinking fountain with the high-low system, fiberglass planters, and then, the sort of typical pool amenities, the ADA chairlift. And then in the bottom right, you see what that World's Fair bench, which we have by the basketball courts, by the tennis court, and just in John Jay Park, what we've been installing in other projects. And that's it. So I'm opening it to any questions you might have.
Thanks. Really appreciate the presentation and looking forward to the changes to the swimming pool and hoping that we have enough lifeguards this year.
Yeah.
But just one quick question before I turn it over to others to ask. Really appreciate the fact that you're doing some plantings with the dirt area, or at least making it look better. One of the issues that has been raised before in the park is a problem with rats and rat burrows. So just concern over having a dirt area. Maybe we can do more planters and less and maybe paving over the dirt area, so there's less of a room for rat burrows in a park that has lots of rat issues. So just one suggestion. So
thank you. Yeah, I've definitely we've had that come up with when we put ground cover because it kind of creates a nice sort of shelter environment for rats. We think if we had some upright these sky pencils, it wouldn't be as conducive to rat burrowing, but we can definitely look into kind of replacing this with paving and see if we could just put more planters. But we'll have to look at that. Yeah, thank you.
Okay, thank you. I don't see any members of the public with their hand up, so why don't we go to Rita Popper?
I think the presentation is incredible, and thank you very much. I did bring up my son, who is now 57, in that park, and it was not in disrepair 57 years ago. So I would like to ask you, what is your maintenance plan to make sure that we don't go back to having the park in such a disrepair after it is constructed? And that goes for Andrew Haswell Green Park, or goes for all parks, is that it's great when they're brand new and shiny, but how do we keep them? Is there a plan for maintenance?
That's a very good question. I mean, we're using materials which we know are durable. Usually when we rebuild with concrete and asphalt, it doesn't really get more durable than that. And I guess the premise is every material has a life expectancy. So, just as no garden or no landscape is zero maintenance, even things like roadways and concrete decks, unfortunately, after heavy use and, light vehicular use, or just and different types of intensity, will start to crack and will start to uplift after 10, 15, 20 years. So it's just unfortunately the nature of this life cycle of materials. So we're doing our best, and I think with using concrete, and we're making sure we're using reinforced concrete, and we have very good contractors who we know are good craftsmen, very good at installing pavement. And really that's the best we can do, is just kind of install the highest quality, the highest, PSI reinforced concrete we can, and then just hope that, after freeze thaw cycles, it'll still survive after 20, 25 years, but eventually things need to be rebuilt.
But what I mean is a small crack doesn't become a big crack until it is neglected and left for several years. Is there a plan for when something is small that you take care of it?
For preventative maintenance, of course, yeah, we have landscape maintenance teams at parks who are constantly addressing these kind of issues and doing crack repair, and making sure that upkeep is maintained within parks.
Is that come out of a special budget?
I cannot answer to that. Maybe Steve or Therese would be able to, because I do capital projects, but
Thank you.
Let's unmute Therese.
I think she's on mute.
Kevin, can we unmute Therese Flores?
I got it now. Thank you. So hi there. I'm Therese Flores. I'm a regional manager for parks. Mike McLean is also here. He's named Amy McLean because his wife is wonderful and her name's Amy. We both maintain a lot of the parks along the waterfront, and we have to follow a very stringent standard under our parks inspection program. We also inspect our parks monthly to make sure that we're on top of our work order system and train our staff to spot things that are cracks, any things that are uplifted. And we also look for anything like rodents and litter. There's literally 17 features that we look for in the park to make sure that we're staying on top of it. And we put in work orders to our shops to maintain things. So also we react to the 311 system and create work orders from there. So if you see something and you believe we haven't seen it, you can also contact us or call 311. So I can leave my email in the chat should you see anything. Your eyes are helpful to us in so many ways.
Thank you, Therese. Next is Judy.
Yeah, the drawing, Nicholas, the drawing that's up on the screen now, on the right, the green, the oblong green and the little square green, what exactly is that?
That would be this area where we would be putting upright columnar shrubs. So that's the area we're planting to screen, basically the fence line and to create a nice edge within the park.
I think I agree with Felice that if you can put planters there, and then if you want something tall, you can plant them in the planters, something that will grow up. I just think that would be better, and agree that it would help with the rat problem if there isn't dirt there. My next question is, when do you plan to start this project, and how long will it take as far as finishing?
So, I mean, it's currently in design. We're expecting to start construction late this fall, and the actual construction would probably be, I want to say 6 weeks, maybe a bit more. Maybe it would definitely be done before next pool season. With the idea that we're trying to work concurrently. We're also redesigning and rebuild separate project, but rebuilding the basketball court area. So trying to minimize the amount of time anything's in construction at one given time.
Okay, that sounds good. That's a reasonable. We've certainly had other projects that have taken a lot longer. And lastly, do you need a resolution from the community board on this?
We don't. We're not going to PDC right now, so we're for this one. So we're okay.
Good. Thank you. That's all I have.
And I'm taking note about the planters. I'll see what we can do if it's a matter of like replacing, not having any dirt, and just seeing if we can have that be linear planters. Maybe that works too.
Okay.
Thank you. I just want to add, I love the pigmentation of the concrete. I think that is a really fun element, and makes the concrete look like something nicer than just concrete. So thank you. That's a great design element. One question is, you're showing the pictures of the pool itself. It does look like the pool could use a fresh paint job, I guess. Is that going to be part of this project?
It wouldn't be part of this project, but every year before pool season opening, we should be repainting the pool tub itself. So if that's not happening, you know, as Therese is saying, reach out to us, reach out to Therese or 311. But that's something that we normally do yearly to kind of make sure that our pools are operational.
I believe the pools were repainted subsequent to those pictures being taken.
Yeah. These pictures are from the winter, and so because pool season has just started, I was doing pool inspections with other pools, and I know they've been repainting the other ones. So
yeah, I suspect these were repainted a few months ago.
Okay, great. Thank you, Steve, and thank you, Nicholas. Really appreciate the presentation tonight. Judy, do you want to take the next one?
Yes. Is Christine Dabo here with us?
If not, I told her to call in at 7:30. So she should be joining us maybe momentarily.
Okay.
Let me try to get a hold of her.
Okay, this is a plan as it reads on the agenda for the New York Rangers to renovate Stanley Isaac's playground hockey rink at the south side of First Avenue and 96th Street. Max. Ah, good. Christine is here because Max is in Italy.
I know. Well, I was like waving and no one could see me. So
Okay. Take it away, Christine.
okay, great. So 1 second. Let me just close this and then let me share my screen. This works. Sorry, all these different technology things. Where's the share thing again? On this, I haven't used this one in a while.
On the bottom, you should see it on the bottom.
Oh, there it is. Duh. Sorry. Okay. Okay, can you see my screen?
Yes.
All right. Okay, great. Sorry. So let me go to the beginning. Hi, everybody. My name's Christine Delmo DeBrow, and I'm the Chief Marketing and Development Officer for Parks, also known as Max Goodstein. So we are looking at Stanley Isaac's playground, hockey rink refurbishment through the Adopt a Park program. For those of you who are not familiar, the Adopt a Park program enables organizations, corporations, individuals to make specific improvements to amenities that Parks otherwise isn't able to upgrade or build. We do both refurbishments as well as new construction. And we've done many projects. So this is through the New York Rangers, who's been a long-standing and really great partner. And so we are going to look at the Stanley Isaac's hockey rink. So the goals of the project obviously is to restore a unique and active sports courts. It's very, very, very popular with many different groups using it, and also working with our local partnerships, both the New York Rangers, who belong to Madison Square Garden, and also the Garden of Dreams Foundation, because the Garden of Dreams is actually providing the funding for this, and the New York Rangers are going to be managing the project on their behalf. This is the location. It's on 96th Street on the Upper East Side, all the way over by the FDR. This is what it looks like currently. So the project entails replacing this surface, which is very worn and has been around, I'm told, for a very, very long time. They're also going to be replacing the fencing and the walls and the chain link fence, as well as the nets. So it's going to be pretty much a brand new rink. So everything is going to be donated to the Parks Department in kind. Essentially, we're not touching money. We're accepting in-kind goods and services, which is why we are able to do a project quickly and for significantly less money than it would cost from a capital perspective. So they are going to replace the playing surface, reconstruct cheek walls. I had no idea that's what they were called. And they're also going to be replacing the player benches. So it's a pretty straightforward renovation. And they've already got all the funding in place. So we just obviously wanted to go to you all. And then the process would involve, going through the construction permit application, and, sort of all of the typical, applications and insurances that are required. And then we can have a nice ribbon cutting and invite everybody in the community. So questions, and I'm happy to go back to any of my 4 slides.
Kevin, do we have any members of the public with questions?
No.
Okay, well then let's start with Rita.
When do you expect to start this project, the renovation, and how long do you think it's going to take?
So starting, I think we obviously wanted to make sure that everybody locally was good with the project. The construction permit application should only take a few days. We're just kind of waiting on some final schematics, and also just on some of the material samples to come in from the Rangers. So theoretically, I mean, they have done similar refurbishments in other parts of the region, not necessarily in New York City, but nearby. And it's only taken them a few weeks. So, I mean, I'm going to pat it a little bit and say, maybe 6 weeks from when we begin, I believe they were saying something much less, but I'm not going to say that. So, let's call it 6 to 8 weeks for funsies.
Thank you.
Police?
When do you think the project will be ready to get started?
I mean, we could probably get started this project as it currently stands, if we can get started, let's see, where are we, July? I mean, I would hope we could get started in before the end of the summer, like mid-August maybe.
That's pretty exciting. And what's the total cost?
So that is one of the things that we're still waiting to get from the contractor. But other projects that they've done have been a couple $100,000, and they have all of that funding in place.
That's terrific. Great project. Thank you.
Welcome.
Barry? Barry, you're muted.
Demuted. Now I'm demuted. I've been a Ranger fan for the last 50 years or so, since I was 2 years old. What credit or what identification, or how do they plan to notify you, me, and the public at large that this was done by the New York Rangers?
So, obviously we would acknowledge their gift with a thank you sign. We have a standard donor thank you acknowledgement sign in terms of size, shapes. It's produced by the Parks Department, and we would provide them with 2 signs. We would, agree on the location. They will, we haven't talked about it yet, but I'm pretty sure they're going to have a ribbon cutting, and they're going to have all of their VPs. They're going to invite the community members. They're going to invite the Manhattan Borough President. They'll probably have a local, a community, like a youth clinic that'll be free and that everybody can come and participate in, to sort of inaugurate the rink. Knowing the Rangers, they'll probably have some music and, some other fun stuff going on. So it will definitely be a community celebration, because they do work with Harlem. Hockey in Harlem is certainly one of the groups that they work with. The North Stars, which is a special needs hockey group. So I think everybody is going to be excited to celebrate this new rink.
That's exciting. Please keep the community board involved and advised. I have some people you may want to invite when we get down to those.
Absolutely.
Thank you very much.
Steve, are you on? Steve's on it.
Have any ideas?
He's talking about our son.
I'll definitely be in touch with the community board to work on the details for the ribbon cutting. You don't need to worry about that.
I wasn't worried, Steve. Judy, what were you saying about that?
I said, I think you were talking about our son, who covers hockey for ESPN and has been covering the Rangers since he was at Stuyvesant High School. So there's a definite interest there. Let me go back to what
Thank you.
let me go back to what you said earlier, that the Rangers would be managing the program. So
No,
does
the project, sorry, the construction project. Just like just like they're like talking to the contractor, they're doing the site visits with us, we're working out that project, not programming, no.
Okay, so and is there anyone specific who manages the programming? Steve, maybe you can answer this for parks at the
our recreation division handles the permits and does other special events there. In fact, I believe the council member sponsored a skate night there at some point in the last year. The previous council member also had a skate night there. So we program activities there ourselves.
Okay. And then I have one other question, which I probably know the answer to, but I'm going to ask it anyway. Besides the hockey rink, in that block of land, there's some seating and I don't know, plants, trees, whatever. I haven't been up there in a while. Are they planning on doing anything to any of the area outside of the hockey rink?
So that is not in the scope of, obviously the Rangers are all about hockey. So that's not really sort of in their mandate, in their mission, in their scope of the project. I am speaking with someone who is interested in potentially renovating the basketball courts across the way. I know that's not the seating area, but you know, I'm always talking to different, you know, potential funders, and I'm happy to bring that up if that is something. I can bring that up to the person who maybe is interested in the basketball courts and see if that's
Okay, that would be good, because it's always to keep all parts of our park system in good condition if we can. And again, I will ask you the question I asked before. Do you need a resolution from us?
This is just a straight refurbishment, like it's for basically bringing it up to today's standards and hopefully better. So it's not necessary, but thank you.
Okay, that's all I have.
Up next is in standing in for Sheena Park is Therese Flores, the regional parks manager. So thanks for being here, Therese.
Thank you, Christine.
I'm trying to close myself. Okay, bye. Thanks.
Thanks, Christine.
Great. I think I'm unmuted. Am I unmuted? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Good. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for having me. It's hard to be here and take over in Sheena's big shoes. She's done a great job. So the only thing I have to report on is John Jay. I think things are going really well over there, a lot better with our staff. There's all new staff in almost all of our pools this year. So thank you for welcoming them and the park system, as well as being patient with us while we learn how to do certain things. And I think we are on top of being able to offer the best customer service we can. If you have any issues or you want to report anything directly, I put my email in the chat. We have a wonderful pool there that's mostly 100% open, except for 3 days in the last few weeks that we've been open. So it's a big accomplishment considering all the lack of lifeguards everywhere. We've been able to have that much of a capacity. It's 283 people when we're at 100%. So on days when we're short of lifeguards, it's a little bit less than that. So if you're experiencing anything or anything is not quite up to standard, please feel free to report to 311 or reach out to me and we'll look into it and try and improve things even more.
Thanks, Therese. Is there a lap swim this year? Do we have enough lifeguards?
No, there isn't. I'm sorry. There's only our open hours. And I believe there are some learn to swim programs, but not at John Jay. So there are other offers this year and funding for those. And so we're offering quite a bit of programming. And we have John Jay open almost completely, which is very nice.
Do you have lap swim at other parks, or is there no lap swim in general around the city? Or
in general, there's not lap swim. And so if I find out about any lap swim that's going on, I can definitely share that with the community board and let you know.
Thank you. In one of the prior meetings, we talked a lot about the rat issue along the edges of John Jay Park, and I was wondering if you can give us an update on what's been going on to address that issue.
So we do what's called the Borough RX, and I have actually seen that they're treating more along the building wherever it's not under construction at the moment. It's difficult to access the areas that are under construction, which allows the rats to get in there. So we've been working with the building to access there and use the Borough X machine to actually deal with it and exterminate the rats. Also, the building is also helping out with that extermination process. Most of the time when we have rats, there's a place that they're eating. So we're looking into improving the way we do our garbage collection at that point, where we see there's stage trash. We try to pick it up late in the evening, make sure that there's nothing left overnight. If you see any buildings leaving large amounts of trash overnight and it's being accessed by the rats, it's a good thing to let us know so we can talk to the Department of Health, maybe even talk to that person who's leaving it out and have them containerize it so that we're not getting the same problem over and over again with the same results that we're having to constantly maintain for rats instead of maintain gardens.
Thanks, Therese. Appreciate that. Are there any questions from members of the community or any community board members? Rita?
I would be, first of all, it is a great meeting. Thank you. I would be remiss if I didn't ask what's the status, Steve, with Rupert Park.
I would be remiss if I did not respond to your question. So the design work has now been completed, which means that we have entered the procurement phase when the project will be put out for bid. So the contract documents that have been prepared by the designer are now being reviewed by our lawyers in preparation for the bid solicitation, which I would hope will take place by the end of the summer or September. So, and hopefully by the end of the year, we will have selected a contractor.
Thank you.
To continue on with that, Steve, the restrooms?
You would have to ask that question.
You know I would ask that question.
And
if I didn't ask it, Felice was going to ask it.
Yeah. Okay. Well, you know, I'm going to have to get back to you. I'm not. You know, this is the restroom building, as you know, is being constructed by another agency on our behalf, the Department of Design and Construction, and I need to get an update from them on where it stands. It's last time I checked, it was in a pre-design phase.
It's been in that phase for some years now.
No, that's not accurate. No.
And Steve, just to confirm, all the infrastructure that's needed to support a restroom is part of the reconstruction project, so that when you finally are able to, or DDC is able to release the bid for the restroom, it's not going to damage the work that's being done, that will be done to reconstruct the park?
Yes. I can't confirm that all of the utility lines that are necessary to connect with the restroom building are part of our project, will already be in the park at the point at which the building is constructed. So there should be no reason to dig up any of the work that we will have performed in the park itself.
Thank you.
Mubeem?
Hi, Felice. How are you? Hi, Steve. How are you?
Okay.
Steve, a quick question. I don't remember from the earlier discussions on this topic whether I have two questions: whether there will be a small storage shed, or a job box in the new design, because we clearly need a storage shed very badly. And the second one is about outlets, electrical outlets, because as you know, it's a constant saga about having to get a generator to have any live music events. It's a big challenge to find a generator and to be able to bring it there. Is it not possible to, in the design, to just put a direct outlet either in the park lights, light poles, or in some of the concrete that's there, so that we don't have to worry about this additional liability of bringing a generator that may or may not work, and be able to provide the park, all the neighbors and the residents the ability to have some nice events there without so much challenge.
Oh, well, I don't know that there's a storage shed in the park. I suspect not, because we are building, we are putting in a brand new building, which would include some storage space for parks, materials, and equipment. Yeah.
That's good. That's great. No,
So, that I would hope would address that question. Now, we don't, as a rule, we do not provide electrical outlets in parks, because, that could lead to all sorts of things happening that would be beyond our ability to control. That's just not something that we do.
But Steve, in the park house, will there not be an electrical outlet?
I assume there would have to be.
So that Mubin, if you were going to have a concert, you could have a very long, heavy electric cord that you could use, because we do that at St. Catherine's Park.
So Judy, I'm glad you brought that idea up. We have done it once as an emergency, but we were told we took the liability upon ourselves because the park staff that was there told us it was against the rules for us to do that. Unless we wanted to, they would make an exception because the park's generator did not work. So thankfully the band had an exceptionally long wire, and we were able to actually plug into the storage shed that we currently have in the park. And we put blue tape all over the wire. And I stationed people at every place where a resident or a neighbor could go by to make sure that we protected the wire, made sure nobody stepped on it. But it was, I was told we could not do that. But if that is a solution, we're fine with that.
I don't know. No one ever told me that. So we just let our music people do it.
But thank you. Thank you for your, Steve, maybe you can tell us if that is something we can do in the future. We did do it that one time under the umbrella of our own insurance that we get for parks, but we were told typically that we could not take the our wire and plug it into the storage shed.
I don't know what kind of a setup we had in that shed, but this is an issue I guess we can discuss once that building is actually in place.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Is there any other old business or new business?
So do we have a motion to adjourn? Oh, Phyllis Wallach.
Greetings, everyone. It's been a lovely meeting, very informative. So I want to just ask a question. Council members Menon and Towers have gotten some funding, of which rumor has it 2.8 million will be available to Coral Shores Park. And I'm wondering if Parks had started figuring out what they're going to do with that money. We could certainly use permanent nets on our pickleball courts. I know you love hearing me talk about it. And maybe some shade area for basketball and for pickleball, because it is, especially this time of year, it's brutal out there. We have people passing out from heat stroke, unfortunately, a couple of times. So what's our dreams going to be for that 2.8?
Phyllis, there's been money allocated for Carl Schurz. There's been money allocated for 24 Sycamores. This all just happened, and Parks isn't ready yet to discuss exactly how this money is going to be spent, whether there'll be community input meetings, as we just had on St. Catherine's. it's too soon. So after the summer, we will follow it up and get back to Parks and get back to you, but no answer for tonight.
Well, Judy, I don't want to leave it that way. Let me just say that.
That's what you told me.
Well, I changed my mind, but let me just say that I mean, Judy is correct. We only just found out about the funding within the last few days, and it's actually great news. And Councilmember Menon is almost performed a magic act in being able to get us this kind of funding for both of those parks. So I suspect that we will be holding community input meetings to discuss both of these projects. I don't think we would want to do it over the summer, so we'll probably schedule them for the fall, and we'll be having an open discussion with people who are interested in the community as to how the money should be spent at both of those parks. But there will be there is some definition as to how the money will be spent. At Carl Schurz, the money is to go towards the area where the basketball and pickleball and the soccer, the open play area, and at 24 Sycamores, the likelihood is that we would spend that money in the area where, on I guess the upper level, where the play equipment is located for both the 2 to 5 year olds and the 5 to 12-year-old group. So we haven't worked out any details yet. There's nothing really to report on in terms of how the money will actually be spent. Judy is perfectly correct on that point, but I do want to assure people that nothing has really been determined yet, and we will be having an open discussion with the community as to how as to what should be done in these projects.
Thank you, Steve, so much. I appreciate all of you, really. You all work so hard, and I don't think you get enough credit for everything you do, especially members of the Community Board Parks Committee. Thank you all very much.
Well, I just want to say this is this community board has been very supportive and has been very much in the forefront of helping to push parks improvements and to help us obtain funding over the years and to point us in the right direction as to work that should be done in the Board 8 area. So I want to second your commendation because this community board absolutely deserves to be commended for its work.
Well, thank you all very much. Felice and I appreciate your comments, as do all the other Community Board 8 members. I'm sure we just want to make the community a better place to live and work. So do I have a resolution from somebody to adjourn? Okay, Rita's got her hand up. Is there a second? Irma is seconding. Have a nice night, everybody. Have a nice August, and we'll see you all. We have plenty of items to follow up, and we'll see you in September on those. Thank you. One of the items that keeps getting pushed off will be, we will have the group from Carl Schurz Park Conservancy are now scheduled for the September meeting. So we hope to see you all then and hope you will join us. Have a good rest of the summer.
Thank you.
Thank you.